All right, everybody, and welcome back to the Javiary. It is a beautiful sunny day, and things are pretty quiet here. We've got relatively clean cages and not much going on, but it isn't going to stay that way for long, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about what I do to get ready for the breeding season. There's a new bird. So buckle up, grab some popcorn, and we'll talk about it. All right. Well, like I said, welcome back to the Javiary, or welcome. We've had a lot of new people join the channel since the podcast started, so welcome to the new folks. Y'all have heard me talk about him probably, but this is Einstein. Einstein is a Solomon's Island eclectus, and you know, we've had a lot going on here outside of the birdcage. So we have a new baby, a new human baby. We have a puppy. I occasionally breed dogs also, and we had a puppy get back from training. So it's been very chaotic around here. And on top of that, Einstein was a little under the weather these past few weeks. I don't know if you can tell, but he's a little thin right in here. It's a little skinnier than I would like him to be, but we're working on getting the weight back in Einstein. We took him to the vet, which I don't normally need to do. I have a lot of medications and a lot of expertise myself, but every once in a while I run into something that exceeds my capability. You're gonna just hide back there. But what doesn't exceed my capability is breeding finches. So let's talk about that. Right now, things are quiet. We've got basically everybody in what's called the rest period, which is basically the period between breeding seasons. And I breed from March to October. And if you're aware, this is obviously, it's March. However, I went very late in my breeding season last year, and so normally by this time I would probably have nest boxes in, but I have not put them in yet, and I don't plan to put them in for another week or two, which may cut my whole season short this year. We'll see how that ends up working out. I do have a few nest boxes in. You can see a cockatiel nest box back here and a budgie nest box back here, and also I have a Bork parrot, which is another kind of small parrot nest box over there. There are eggs, fertile eggs in this one, and there are fertile eggs in at least one chick. Maybe we'll open them up in a little bit and I'll show you all the new chick. And then the rest of that, there's nothing too crazy going on. We have one new zebra finch that I showed you, but we are shortly expecting a bunch of new birds. I kind of have alluded to it. Chris and I have talked about it, but I think we've sort of narrowed down the list, and I'll list them out for you. I'm expecting new masked grass finches, and none of this is set in stone, but this is what I'm expecting. New masked grass finches, new shaft tails, new Gouldian finches, a new zebra finch, and some more red-billed fire finch. And I think that's everything I'm expecting to get in, but we'll see how that all changes. And then out I have going some Gouldians, some shaft tails, some canaries, some diamond doves, and some fire finches. None of which are, as in I'm changing species or anything. Those are just the birds that are going to go out to Chris and his brother, and some birds that are going to come in. And I'm also expecting maybe to get some birds from my friend Alex, SoCal Gouldians on Instagram. If you want to check him out, he does sell Gouldians. So if you're really looking for Gouldians right this second, I think he's probably the right guy to reach out to, especially if you're on the West Coast. And so what does that mean for me? First of all, it means a bunch of quarantining. So let's take a look at that setup. So these are two of my quarantine cages. They can also be used as hospital cages. And this right here will be coming in a future video. This is an aviator harness that belongs to Einstein. And we've been working on training it. This is Einstein's cage, and the reason that harness is right there is part of the training to help him get used to it. And then we have the parrot flight here, which I've talked about a little bit, but I've made some changes. I've added some branches, and we do have, I'm basically letting this cage breed. So we do have, you can see here, it's hard to see from below, but maybe I can get the camera out there and show you a little bit better. We have a dove and a canary on eggs up there, so we'll see what goes on. Hey, Bandit, there's my buddy Bandit. He's probably not gonna step up, but let's see. No, he's not. He used to be more tank, but he's been breeding for a while now and he doesn't feel the need, but he isn't very afraid of me. And it's his gal Smokey that has the chicks in there, which we'll take a look at. And then the other eggs belong to my gal Pearl right here. And her mate is sitting on them now, so they alternate. Really cool to see. Very excited for those chicks. Pearl is what's called a white face pearl pied, and her mate Kristoff is just a pearl pied. So we should get some of each, should get a very pretty bird out of that. And then over here we have some English budgies that are doing very funny things, just sitting on each other. And they are headed to Royal Avian in Slidell, Louisiana. So if you're interested, go check them out. And then we have a female zebrafinch here to make one of my pairs complete. So this is basically between these cages and these cages. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cages set up for quarantine. I probably wouldn't do more than about 4 to 5 finches per cage for these. And remember, that's for a very short time, just a couple of weeks. And then behind me now, I have my 2 large holding cages plus my Bork cage. And you can see here, right there's a Marty. And in the back there is a Lou. And that is my Bork's parrot pair. And then out here in the aviary, Einstein, I'll set Einstein up here for a moment, if you will. Sometimes he doesn't like to be left. Sorry, buddy, but Einstein scares the little birds. They don't know that he's not trying to eat them. Einstein's a vegetarian, but they don't know that. So out here, right now, it's pretty empty. We are doing egg food daily. I'm trying to get our camera to focus. There it goes. Doing egg food daily. Birds are finishing out molts. And this is about the last Gouldian I have that hasn't colored up. Everybody else is at least starting to. Here's some good examples of that. And just kind of hanging out. That, we have a canary that's tried to build a nest in here, and she's in there working on it now. You can see she's got nesting material and all, but that's all gonna change in about 2 weeks, and I've got to do an inventory of all my nests, but we'll have nests mounted all the way down this rail, all the way down these sides, and we'll take out these privacy perches. We'll have nests here and nests there as well, and some hanging in the middle. And we'll get down to my favorite part of the year, which is breeding season for the finches. So most of the birds coming in are to complete pairs, and I have basically a running document that I keep of who's who in the zoo, and we'll be on the road to making baby birds. Right now, we're just starting to work into that. So we're doing daily egg food, daily mealworms and other insects, and doing what's called getting birds in a breeding condition, which I've made a video about that before, so I won't elaborate too much, but we're gonna work to get these birds just as healthy as possible, so that when it does come time for breeding, they are ready and willing to do that. As promised, we have about a 3-day-old chick, and you can see food right there in its crop being fed, and it looks like, it's hard to tell, let me re-angle my light here. So this egg is infertile. Looks like this egg is either fertile or may have died in the egg, and then these two seem a little underside and they're infertile. So we're either gonna get probably one, just this one, or a second chick from this collection. That makes sense. Smokey and Bandit are older. This will be their last year breeding, and then I'll retire them. And I'll keep a chick from this year, and that'll keep the line going. So like I said, basically for the next couple weeks, we'll be focused on completing pairs, getting birds into breeding condition, and then we'll get breeding happening. So thanks, flock, for following along. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.
Birds in the sky keeping me down. They won't let me out of their town. How I wish I could be one of them. How I wish I could be one of them.